All right, everybody, I just want to thank you for coming to the presentation today. I hope you're going to learn something from it. We've got two sides that we're going to be talking from. One is, so there's more people. Must I click admit or?
I think Sherry's got that, Dave.
There we go. We are going to talk at chatbots versus live chat from two different angles. The first angle will be about the product. What is a chatbot? What is live chat? And then the second angle is actually going to be from the point of view of a digital marketing agency or digital marketing expert of what it can do for you and all those good things. So to start, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. My name is David Marshall. We started an outsourced live chat service about 5 years ago. We were, as far as I understand, one of the first, if not the first company to offer it as what I call a call center timeshare, so that normal businesses could have the full service of live chat and live chat agents at a fraction of the cost of doing it themselves. And that's where the business has grown today. Alistair, who's in the video with us, is going to be talking after me. He's what they call a fractional CMO, and he's one of our customers, and he runs a few websites that have our live chat on it. He's a digital marketing coach. He coaches entrepreneurs, startups, executives, all different kinds of businesses, and he helps them save tens of thousands of dollars on their digital marketing. He's been working with us for about 5 years now, and he's probably in the best position to tell you about driving traffic to your business and how live chat can feature in that strategy of driving traffic. So if you've got any questions, we will have a Q&A afterwards, but you're welcome to ask questions in the chat. And then obviously I'm not going to read them now, but we'll go through them afterwards and we can go through them one by one. Hi, Davey. Good to see you. Okay, so I'm going to cover 6 points in my talk. And if you saw the invitation, those 6 points are there. What can human live chat do that chatbots can't? I'll go through that. How do you set up a chat for success? How does an engaging live chat increase your Google rankings? How do we train, or how can you train your own human agents? And this is something I actually want to get on. You don't have to use an outsourced company. You can do this yourselves. The only time you'll need us is if you think we can do it better than you. How do we train our agents to do upselling and cross-selling? And what are the key metrics to look at for when we report back? So if we're all ready, let me just check that there's any messages. I think we're ready. Awesomes. All right. So ask any questions and we'll answer them at the end. The first thing I want to cover is, what can a human live chat do that a chatbot can't? Or maybe the question should be asked the other way around. And I always illustrate this. This is not my story. I'm going to tell you a story of context when people are talking about AI. The story goes like this. There's a lady. She's leaving a restaurant late at night. She leaves the restaurant and walks towards her car in the parking lot. When she opens her purse, she looks around, jiggles the car door, goes, oh no, walks back to the restaurant. As she's walking back to the restaurant, the manager opens the door and hands her something. And she goes, thank you. Now, this is the difference between humans and chatbots, or even AI today. Maybe in the future, and I'm sure it will be in the future, the AI will have context. But for now, the chatbot doesn't know she was looking for keys. A lot of us could work out, I never mentioned keys. I didn't show why. She went, oh no. And I didn't even say, how did the manager know why she was coming back? Because he'd found the keys, but that's not in the text. So humans are amazing at filling in the gaps. And unless you've got a chatbot that you've spent years and years and years and years of training, you'll never have that context. So what can humans do? Humans can understand what a person really needs. I mean, we've all tried a chatbot where You go to a website, you ask a question, and then and it might say, sorry, did you mean this? Or could you click one of these 3 things to tell us what you're talking about? That's all good. Those work. But unless you've put a lot, excuse me, a lot of hours into that chatbot, it can actually be more annoying than not. With a human, you can type a question, get the spelling wrong. You can even use slang, and you can even use different language words. My humans will know what you're talking about. And if they really don't know what you're talking about, they go, sorry, I didn't understand that. Could you clarify? So humans have chatbots and even AI beat by a long way. And that's, as I say this today, who knows what the next 5 years hold. Added to the difference between a chatbot and AI is quite vast. A chatbot is simply where you program it to follow a structure. That's what a chatbot is. Okay, so I've answered that first question. Any questions you might have about that, you're welcome to ask me. The second point I want to cover is how do we set up chat for success? And this is very important. And I always we call it a knowledge base, but really it's an FAQ with a next action that has humanized thinking. And what I mean by that is if somebody comes and says, what is the price of XYZ? The answer might be $20, but you don't just write $20. You go, might be prices start at $20. Tell us a little bit more about what you're going to use it for. That's the next action. Or it might be $20. And if you'd like to make the purchase now, click here. So what have I done there? I know what the person's asking in the context of why, but I'm not just giving them the answer, I'm helping them to the next phase. And that's the first thing I think of when I say, how do we make chat successful? The second is humanized thinking or empathy. So a lot of people start chats not to buy stuff, but it might be to complain, or I can't choose, or how many colors does that come in? Or I bought it last week and it's broken, I want to return it. So that's when we go into what we call empathy listening. I'm really sorry your system broke. Tell me a little bit about it. What happened? Why did it break? Do you have photos? Can you upload? Let me get as much information as I can, and then I'll escalate that to our supervisor or whatever the script is or whatever the processes are. But we go into what we call human empathy listening. And the reason, if I'm going to go back to point 1, why human live chat versus chatbot is a bad live chat or a bad chatbot can do brand damage. If you had a chatbot or even human live chat and they're not trained properly, and it's more annoying than just sending an email to support, you can do brand damage. So setting up is one of the most important parts of whether chatbot or live chat. Let's go on to point 3. How does an engaging live chat increase your Google rankings and reduce your bounce rates? Well, this is a great question. So one of the byproducts of live chat is an improved Google ranking, provided you've got a good live chat or chatbot. And we do this by increasing what we call dwell time and reducing bounce rates. So if you're spending lots of money, and this Alistair can talk to later, driving traffic to your website, and it's the wrong traffic, your bounce rates will shoot up because people will come, they'll see it's not right, bounce off. But if you've got an engaging live chat and the person stays there for longer than a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, you've reduced your bounce rates, you've increased your dwell time, and Google sees this. And Google starts to think you're an authority. And Google says that website is respected. And so it starts pushing you up the rankings. Very simple, no work needed on your behalf, no work on our behalf. It just happens naturally. And obviously it takes 6 months, longer, a year, but that's how Google, one of the ways that Google looks at your website. How do we train human agents? Now, again, I'm going to use whether you use me or whether you do it yourself. How do you train your human agents. And there's a couple of ways. Let's say you're doing it internally. You can have your own internal staff, whether it be a sales assistant, a receptionist, it's up to you. But obviously they're going to be away at meetings, they're going to have sick days, they're going to be off at whatever, and you're going to have your system will be off. So you've got to make sure your people are on, at least during office hours. The next thing is what I feel very important is systems and processes. And I'm going to talk about systems and processes first, and then I'm going to talk about hiring. So systems and processes is you've mapped out every scenario that could possibly happen. Complaints, emergencies, sales, opportunities. What are the processes? If there's a complaint, who do we send it to? How do we handle it? What are their returns policy? All those things are mapped out. If it's a sale, but it's a big sale that you need to actually take offline, what is the process? Who does it go to? How do we report back? How do you communicate to the visitor that it's in the process? And so you map those out. You can use an Excel spreadsheet. If this happens, then these are the people you email. That's pretty easy to do. If you decide that you want to hire dedicated chat agents, the hiring process becomes super important. The first thing we hire for, forget aptitude or anything, is computer skills. And by computer skills, I mean basic computer skills, but typing speed. So usually I can measure by typing speed how computer literate the person is. So we're not expecting a touch typist, who can just whiz through, but I'm a one-finger typer. I'm pretty fast. All my agents are faster than me. So when hiring, get that right in the first place. The second thing is attitude. So are they willing, if they're going to be running a night shift or 24 hours, get that out of the way in the front. Can you do that? Are you willing to do that? Do you know you got to come into an office, or can you work from home? It's up to you, however you're going to do it. And the third thing is putting systems and processes that make not doing it your way worse than not doing it their way. In other words, consequences of not following the procedures. And in our business, we have agents that get a basic salary and then bonuses based on key performance indicators or KPIs. And our KPIs are quite simply speed. In other words, how quick are they to answer the chats? And then accuracy. So it's no good just being fast and answering chats. How accurate are your answers? In other words, do you solve the problem? The third is tone. Are you empathetic when you need to be? Do you put smiley faces in the right place? Are you rude? Do you get short with with visitors? So speed, accuracy, and tone. And each KPI has a different metric, and it's their bonuses that are based on this. The last two are sometimes out of the person's, I can't say that. Timekeeping. Do they start their shift and end their shift on time? Are they reliable? Especially if they're going to be working from home. When you run a contact center, a person shows up for work. But if they've got to log on at 7 p.m. from home, I need to know that I'm dealing with reliable people. So in the first part of the working at my company, if you're failing in any of these, chances are you won't be there for a second month. And the last one is chat ratings. Now, chat ratings is a double-edged sword. Chat ratings is what the visitor rates the quality of the chat. Why is it so important? Well, it tells you what people think of you. The second thing is, it might not be the agent's fault. Let's imagine you supply solar systems, and for whatever reason, it's not working, and the person comes to the chat, and the chat agent's absolutely brilliant. Empathy, oh my goodness, we'll get it out. But this is the 5th time you've started the chat. You're going to get a bad chat rating. So what they're really doing is they're rating the company, and it's out of the agent's hands. But that data is gold. That's telling you where you need to fix your business. So once in my business, when I see chat ratings as bad, I look at it and I go, was this the agent's fault or is this product or service's fault? And if it's not the agent's fault, it doesn't hurt the agent. So those are the 5 key things that I look at and that you should probably look at for using live chat. Even if you were looking at a bot, speed is fine. Accuracy is important. Tone is important. So it's all about the customer experience when it comes to training human agents or bots. All right, let's jump on to the 5th point, upselling and cross-selling. And this is the key thing that I always talk about with live chat. It's not just about answering questions. It's how can we actually enhance the experience of the visitor? How can the company make more money per click? And that's upselling and cross-selling. There's a few tools you can use. Now we're getting into the deeper part of AI and things like that. One is obviously suggestions. The other one could be, if I'm talking about humans, it could be suggestions as well as systems. So for example, if somebody is looking to buy a TV, let's just say from a furniture store, you don't want to be recommending people who've bought this TV have also looked at these TVs. Well, that's not going to help me. What I want to see is people who've looked at this TV have also bought this lounger or have bought this TV stand. Again, if I'm selling hotel rooms, people you can say to them, I see you staying over the weekend. Would you like a breakfast option with that? So this is where humans come in. So I'm going to make this up now, but let's imagine you go into a hotel room and we go, oh, wonderful. How many people were you looking at? No, it's for me and my wife. Oh, wonderful. I hope you're having a lovely occasion. Yes, it's our anniversary. Now, a human brain is going to go, okay, anniversary, 2 people, let's sell them a candlelit dinner package. Those are the things that you need to think of at the start. What's important is being flexible. So month 1, you might want to offer a few things and you see what works. And then month 2 and month 3, you start getting smarter about your upselling and cross-selling. So how do our agents upsell and cross-sell? Through experience, but we have software that actually also suggests. So it looks for keywords. Let's use the TV. It sees the word how much and TV or cost and TV, or it might even be delivery and TV. And then based on those, gives my agent a few recommendations. Agent doesn't have to take them. Agent can just look at that and go, no, none of that, or click on a button and go, hey, you're looking at a TV. Have you ever considered insurance? Or, hey, you're looking at a large king-size bed. Would you like delivery? Or would you like to take your old mattress away? Whatever your procedures, your upselling, will work within those criteria. So quite simply, that's upselling and cross-selling. Last thing on my agenda is to talk about the key metrics. What do we report on? Alistair probably could cover this as well. It's great to have all these extra sales, but there's real gold in this data. So chat volumes. How many chats did we get versus how many visitors? Because really only about 5% of your visitors will actually start a chat. Most people are just coming there, look around. A chat is actually a hot lead. This is somebody who's actually taking action. So a chat actually has great value. And what are the ratio to visitors to chats? Time of day. What time are these? Is it people coming in at night? Or are these people chatting while at work? And that can even help you out with your advertising and obviously scheduling. But time of day is another one. Speed, of course, we need to know, are we answering quick enough? Do we need more agents on that? So let's imagine you get an influx of chat between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. Well, I know I need more agents on in that time. Then there's the chat ratings, which we spoke about earlier. And I look at my ratings and I start to keep January, February, March. and we start going, okay, our chat rating is 95%. Our goal is to get it to 96 or 97 or 98. And as soon as it starts dropping, I need to see why. The second part of chat ratings is, what were they rating us bad for? Or what were they rating us good for? And if it's always the same thing, nobody ever gets back to me. Well, to me, that's gold. You need to put systems and processes in place to communicate, whether it be SMS or text, or whether it be WhatsApp or email, or whether it be a phone call. Just that little piece of knowledge. It might be stuff you already know, but take action. And lastly, of course, the most important of all of this is transcripts. With human live chat, you have transcripts. With chatbots, all you have is decision trees. So you really don't, it's not as good as having a transcript where a person has asked questions or vented or whatever. And now, if you're brilliant at Excel, you can take those transcripts and you can start creating word clouds or doing amazing things with the transcripts. And that's pretty much it from my side. If you have to ask me what's the difference between chatbots and live chats, quite a lot. I obviously am selling live chat. And so I believe, and the reason we chose to go that direction is I believe that's the best bang for your buck. And we can talk about pricing later if you want. So I'm going to now hand over to Alistair, who I feel why I brought Alistair in is he's independent of me. He can use any system, any bots, anything he wants. And he has real world knowledge of our product and live chat and digital marketing. So I'm going to hand over to Alistair to talk about real world examples. Alistair, if you don't mind.
Yeah, hi, Dave. Thanks for that. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Great to be here. I've got a little presentation I'm going to share. Let's see if I can go in. And I always start at the end for some reason. You and I get to see my whole. There you go. So I'm going to give you some real world examples of why I like live chat and where I like live chat. That's, I think, where I can add the most value here. So we're going to talk about, give you a brief overview of who I am and why what I say has any relevance. I'll tell you a little bit more about what I do. I'm going to be very brief. We'll look a bit more into why live chats, not bots. I will use some, and then I'll give you some examples. I'll give you an example from e-commerce, an example from a B2C service where we use chatbots, and another example from a B2B SaaS platform that we use in live bots. And then I'll open that up to some questions. So what do I do? Essentially, my job is I work with entrepreneurs and teams, businesses, big businesses, small businesses, and I try and help them save money on their digital marketing. Okay. And how do I do that? I help them by providing them with as much information as possible so that the decisions they make or we make together are empowered. We have the information we need to make decisions. So effectively, there are three stages of this. The first is driving traffic to the website or the app, wherever it may be. So we've got to get people from out there to the website. Once they're on the website, we need to help them to make a decision about whether to engage with the product or service, whether to purchase or ask to be contacted. And third, we need to build processes around these first two items that we can repeat and scale. So that's what I do. Now, why I prefer live chat? Okay. 4 reasons. The first is credibility. Why is live chat more credible than a chatbot? Well, the first reason is that any business that can afford to have somebody online waiting to help me is a little bit more credible than a business that will just put a bot in there. So it's almost like another level of credibility on top of a great brand, a great website, excellent content, and wow, real people to take care of me, a real person who I can talk to. So that's the first reason I like live chat. Okay, credibility. The second is something that Dave has touched on, is information. The real person can ask the right questions, which gets better information from the person visiting my website, which I wouldn't have got any other way. That person, a lot of the time, the person who interacts with a live chat, they might be a hot lead, but often they will, if they don't convert, they still leave valuable information in the chatbot that I would never have got. Not in the chatbot, in the live chat, that I would never have got before. So I can use that information to create better content, which in turn is better content for ads, is better content for social media, which increases traffic and then increases conversions. So the more information I have, the happier I am. The third item is something Dave's also talked on, is interactions. The interactions with my website sends a signal to Google that says this content, this website is relevant. It has relevant. Instead of a person coming to the website or the app, reading what's going on and then leaving with no interactions, the person came into the website, and that extra, those 5% of people that interact with a live chat, they increase the Google relevance metrics enough that I get better SEO. I also get better conversions for my ads. So I can increase traffic and because of these interactions. And the third, and probably the most important, is empathy. People share more when they relate. So I love having live chat on a website because I want to know what people want. And I'll talk a little bit more about this in the examples. But as a digital marketer, when I'm driving traffic to a website, I need signals as to what's working and what's not. And I use data as much as possible. And now we've got privacy rules have changed. And so we're losing a lot of that data. But what I can get from the live chat, from people sharing with real people what's going on, I get an extra level of information we spoke about in number 2. So that empathy for me is critical. All right, so the first example I'm going to talk about is an e-commerce operation we were running in the US. Now it's a very competitive gift market for specialty crystals. Now the crystal market used to be easy 10 years ago because there were very few of them. Now everybody's selling crystals. My client had been selling crystals very, very successfully for a number of years, and suddenly the market just dropped off. So he had traffic volume, he had a great brand, he had a great product, it had been validated, but we didn't know what was going on. All right. What we found when we put the live chat on there is that people, because his original demographic was now saturated, they were going to either buying from him or buying from other outlets. The new people who were coming onto the website didn't know too much. They didn't know a lot about crystals. So what we discovered was from the live chat was that we needed to provide more information about what the crystals were doing, what was going on behind the scenes, and people also need a little bit more help checking out. So we actually had the live chat helping people check out. So chats were helping to close, where before we were getting 20 to 30 sales a day. We were getting an extra 2 to 3 sales a day just from chats, where someone wasn't going to make a purchase, but the chat agent helped them to decide to make that purchase. So for e-commerce, and this comes back to price, if I'm selling a $10 widget, I'm probably not going to have a live chat operator on my e-commerce website. But if I'm selling a crystal that is $200 or $300, to have a live chat operator increase my conversions by 10%, that makes sense for me. So that was a very, an excellent example of where empathy and information and support helped me to increase conversion rates for my client. So yeah, e-commerce, I like it for a high value ticket item. Example 2, an adventure travel platform. Okay, again, another very competitive market, and we've got a complex product and it's got a high value. I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars. Now, what was happening was we were getting fairly high bounce rates because our users were coming to the website and there was just so much information that a few would stay, but most would say, I can't find what I'm looking for. I'm going to leave and I'm going to go somewhere I can find what I'm looking for. So what we did is we essentially upgraded the website to have a 24-hour concierge service. This adventure travel platform, and it's not a budget travel platform, it's an adventure, high quality travel platform. We said the live chat became the credibility part of the website. And what happened is we also found that we started to qualify leads better. So instead of sending off loads of low quality leads to our limited sales team, the chats were qualifying those leads and our sales team could focus on the leads that had high potential to convert. So what started to happen was the questions that people were asking in the live chat, we then took that information and we started to put that front and center on our landing pages for our Google ads, for our social ads. We knew what people were asking when they were coming to our website. We knew the questions and we could just set them up. We could make a quick change to our landing page, get that question and answer up there. And sometimes we actually put up a question and answer. It was that simple. And that has helped us to increase our conversion rates there. So the feedback from real people about a complex product, that for me has been gold. And this B2B SaaS platform, this is a great example of where live chat has been fantastic for us. So it's a very dynamic market. There's some SaaS platforms that are fairly slow. This is a very dynamic market. It's for small and medium-sized businesses in the HVAC industry. And we found that these particular business owners, they're busy, they're always busy, and they want answers now. They want them quickly. They don't have time to send up a form. They feel like once the form is gone, it's out of their hands, it's out of their control, they've lost it. So we found that the live chat gives these business owners, so they get on there and they say, I have a problem, let me fix it now. And what we found is that interaction, that, wow, these guys get stuff done just like us. We're collecting 3 to 4 qualified leads every day. And what's more, we're finding out why they're qualified. I'm looking to change from so X and Y competitor. I'm looking to change because I have a problem with, and all of that information, we're then recycling, reorganizing, putting together our facts, putting together content for our landing pages, even putting together content for videos, for customer support and onboarding. We found that our chats have been a way for people to follow up on their first interaction. They're coming back to the website and they say, I had a conversation with so-and-so, what's going on? So it's an excellent tool, both for me as a digital marketer who's looking to increase conversions, but also for the business to, as Dave said, to improve processes. So that's me. I've been brief, but I am open to any questions. And if you want to learn more about me, my website is alistairthompson.com. Thanks, Dave. Back to you.
Thank you, Alistair. All right, so appreciate your time. We've kept it to 30 minutes. So I would like to open the floor to questions. Ask any tough question you want. And yeah, let's have a chat.
Yeah, just send them in the chat, guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
hey, hi there, David and Alistair. Thank you so much. That was amazing. I have a couple of questions that some of the people actually posted directly to me during the chat. Most of them are around price. So the first one is, what is the price difference between live chat and a chatbot?
Great question. So there's lots of free tools. So let's assume that we're going with the free tool, and they will have limited functionality, of course. Then the time becomes the setup time and the time it takes to get it trained up. So as I said, you can get free tools. Then you get into the $40 a month kinds of tools, and whether you're talking about live chat or chatbot, it's pretty similar. Where live chat works, how we do it, is we don't charge for the tool or for setups. You only pay per chat. So it's a pay per performance model. But if you're doing it yourself, the cost of a human live chat is the time that your agents are on. The cost of not having a human live chat, or let's call it a bot that's not doing well, we can't measure. So we can't measure the leads or sales you didn't get. The cost of having a bad live chat is awful. So the reason people go with chatbots is because it's perceived cheaper. And if you get an outside company to build you a chatbot, and I'm talking a good chatbot, it's way more expensive than a human live chat, because they're going to spend hours and hours and hours building out that knowledge base. Then they've got to train it and adjust. And here's another downside of anything digital where it's bot pre-programmed, is if your prices change, or if your products change, or if something changes, now you've got to go back in and pull out or delete the old info. Now, I'm talking chatbots. AI, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. So AI is really for the Googles and the real big companies of the world. If we're talking pure chatbots, the cost is setting it up and maintaining it. If you're talking live chat, you might, it all depends on your staffing. I'll use an example of, let's imagine you're not that busy and you've got a receptionist that's could be used. Training them up, good idea. And so therefore your costs are minimal. But again, if I know from live chat experience and history, 20 to 30% of your chats will happen after 4 p.m. So between 4 and 11. And that is the people that are getting home and now on their cell phones or mobile phones, and they're doing chats from there. So the actual cost of the units, the digital, is pretty similar, $20, $30, $40, sometimes free. It's the setup costs that get expensive when you're talking about, and again, I'm talking good chatbots. It's the setup cost that gets expensive. And then, of course, maintaining it, reading it, managing the reports. So I hope that answers. You can go ask a deeper question if I didn't answer that question, but that's the main difference in cost.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. Okay, so this other question, I think you may have answered portions of it, but the main part of the question is, how does one actually measure the return of investment in a live chat? And it also leads into, I mean, how do they know when a live chat is worth it? And what is the cost benefit of having a live chat? So I think you already kind of answered most of that, but how do you measure ROI in live chat?
Okay, I'm going to answer. Okay, Alistair, I'll answer it very briefly and we'll move to Alistair. If we're not making more money than the cost of it, for obvious reason, it's better to have no live chat. So how do we measure the return on investment? Our company does it quite simply. We'll talk to the customer and go, what is your average cost? I mean, your average sale. So let's just imagine the average sale is $100. And then we'll say to the person, what percentage of leads that we send you convert to a sale? So let's imagine it's only 5%. So it's quite simple for us to work out. If you've had 100 chats and you get 5% of those turn into a sale, 5 times 500, quite simple. We'll say that's your revenue, not your profit. That's your revenue minus the cost of the service. That's how I measure return on investment. The second side of return on investment is, did we reduce the amount of calls that come in? And did we improve your customer service? Not always that easy to quantify, but a lot of the companies they know if we've reduced their telephones, we've reduced their customer support issues. Then I'm going to use a real world example. I do live chat for a big hotel group. We asked them, can they work out how many hotel rooms we may have sold extra through live chat? And they said, well, they could work it out. It's going to take a lot of time. But just the Monday morning emails reduction has made the live chat worth it. So just the amount of time that they used to spend replying to emails that came in, obviously over the weekend when they're busy, that alone paid for the live chat. So it's a gut feel as well as we can quantify it. Alistair, if you want to take over.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. So for me, what I have a challenge when I'm working with my clients and I come to them and I say, look, I want to try live chat on your website. And they go, okay, live chat, my website sounds expensive. And I say, well, yes and no. And the one thing, this is, one of the great services that Chatmarshal offers is they allow my clients to try the chat for 30 days. They have a, proof of concept trial. If you don't like it, if it doesn't work for you, throw it away. You don't pay the invoice, you just let it go, and the service ends. And that's amazing. That's great. That helps me to get live chat onto the website, because once it's on, I'm able to show very clearly this, that 5% that Dave talks about, that increased revenue. I'm able to show that, yes, we pay, essentially, we don't pay for successful chats, we pay for every single chat. But if you look at that 5%, what it means is the successful chats have a slightly higher cost than the average chat. But then I take that cost and I add it on top of my advertising cost, and I add it on top, all the little costs of that go into marketing. And the live chat tends to be a tiny little chunk on the top. If I'm spending tens of thousands of dollars in advertising, and I'm driving a lot of traffic to the website, yes, I'm getting a lot of chats. But if I'm increasing my conversions by 5, 10%, those are really big numbers, especially if I've got a high ticket item. So that $1 or $2 or $3 that you're paying per chat, whatever it may be, because of that 5%, that little number is has a big impact on the overall numbers. So in terms of measuring it, it's a really simple calculation for me. It's the total number of chats that converted, that number divided by the big number divided by the number of chats that are done, and I just add that on to the cost per acquisition, and it becomes, like I say, it's a very small percentage, and it's always worked out to be net positive for my clients. And the smaller the cost of the product, the lower the cost of the product or the service, the more that number impacts it. But if I have a high value product or service, live chat for me is essentially, for me and my customers, I say, you've got to try it. You've got 30 days to try it. The information we get from those first 30 days, even if we don't carry on with live chat, it makes my life as a digital marketing professional much, much easier. I get so much more, I get so much information out of that. Yeah, that's my take on that. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you so much. So those are the only 2 questions that I could see that I could pick up, but I highly recommend anyone else there, you're very welcome to unmute and join in the dialogue. And if you have any questions, hey, you can talk directly to Dave and Alistair right here.
Yeah, thank you, Sherry. Yeah, and again, obviously everybody's got our LinkedIn contacts here, so you're welcome to direct message me on LinkedIn or email or any way you want it. And we can have a one-on-one conversation. If you decide you want to set up your own live chat, I'm more than willing to talk you through it. But yeah, any questions? Hello, Debbie.
Hey, nice to see you all. I just want to throw in 2 cents that we are just starting to try your 30-day trial. I missed the beginning of this. I'm sorry, the damn time change. I think Davey got on earlier, which is great. But I love the points made in those slides. Everything makes sense. So we're pretty excited to be trying you out and looking forward to maybe turning you on to a lot more people.
Okay, Debbie, can I ask you some real world questions? If you don't want to share the stuff, you don't have to, but you're in the B2B space, I think, is it, or you B2C?
It's both. I mean, it started B2C and now it's both, definitely. We work with individuals and corporate teams.
Okay,
So,
so what are you hoping to get out of the live chat?
Actually, we're purposely going to be driving more people to the website. Honestly, you know, full transparency, we've not done a stellar job of following up on the inquiries that have been made. I think that's maybe a reason for the fewer inquiries than we'd like. And I think it makes total sense when you're dealing with a different type of service like ours. It helps to have a live person interact with a potential client. So, and we've never tried it. I know it's been around through other sources, but we've never tried it. And I think I love always, like LinkedIn gives a 30-day free trial on any level of membership. I've always admired that. And you can just drop it after if you don't want to continue. So you're doing the same. And I think that's a great way for people to experience the service and possibly see some results out of the gate. We on the other hand, I don't have that kind of viewpoint. If I like the service and I know that, you know, we'll be editing the initial answers you guys are giving and all that to get it more perfected. But I believe in the trial and seeing how it does in the first 30 days. I always tell people, you know, when we do our training and we give our action plan, you know, you're not going to get results overnight. We're always telling our clients that you have to, you know, build the momentum and practice what you know is going to work. So I'm very excited about all of this.
You know, thank you, Debbie. You've actually just reminded me of another feature that I haven't actually spoken about with live chat. There are a couple of companies, and I think Graham's in here, that, like, for example, solar. So I know in the UK and in South Africa, there's issues with electricity or prices of energy and things like that. And so suddenly there's an influx of people asking about solar installations. But there might only be 1 or 2 salespeople. So you don't want to be having 20 leads and only 5 of them are any good. And I always call it qualifying out. So the chat agents can ask the right questions and steer the person. So if it's, I'm going to use solar because that's in my head, solar, asking questions like, what is your current spend of electricity? Do you even own the home? You know, so who owns the home? And there's a few other questions. And then only those leads go through and we'll set up a, so we'll say, would you like an evaluator to come out and actually, and we'll even set up the appointment in the calendar. If the person doesn't qualify, you don't just go, no, sorry, you're not right for us. There's other solutions. So we say, well, we have a DIY kit, or how about just an inverter with a deep cycle battery backup. And so we offer those. So what the customers, and it sounds like it might be good for if you're getting a lot of leads and you sell hours, you want to cherry pick. You want to cherry pick the best, most profitable customers. And as long as the client or the person who's designed the chat has designed it around those questions, we can help with that. And so that's quite simply, quite simply. I'm going to use another one because I see Graham is in this. We work for a company that does co-working space. And there's obviously a limited amount of space, and they want not just customers who are willing to pay, but what they actually want is customers who are going to be there for more than a year. So as well as they enjoy people who come to the co-working space for a month, 2 months, or 3 months, really it's the guy that's there for 2-3 years that was really enjoyable. So those are the kinds of ways where we can decide who to put the leads through. So that's the difference. And I wish I thought of that before. And thank you, Debbie. The difference between human live chat and a chatbot is a chatbot, you might as well just use a form. Say, click here and fill in this form, where a human will actually extract that from you. So thank you. Okay, well, I think I'll end off on that because it's now 10 to. So thank you very much for everybody attending. If you've got any questions that you want to or talk to Alistair directly or to me directly, please message us and we'll answer all the questions we can.
Yeah, thanks everybody.